$60. This is our biggest difference of $24,000 between WASA and community. This coverage includes our auto liability, our general liability, law enforcement liability, public officials liability, and umbrella liability. The next category is workman's comp. This category is not much different. Basically, the state tells the insurance carriers how to price this. It's based on our payroll and our experience mod. I have another sheet after this to look at our experience mods and pricing. But currently, there's a slight difference based on a couple of things, different little tweaky things that the carriers do. But it actually went up from last year. That's due to our payrolls going up. This is based on experience mod times a rate times our payrolls. So both the companies, of course, are above this last year's premium. On the property and auto damage, neither the carriers, WASA or community, quoted this policy. This is actually through the local government property insurance fund. On this one, we have currently for property a $25,000 deductible. We switched that last year. And then with our auto, we have deductibles of $1,000 and $25,000 or $2,000 on auto physical damages. The premium there is the same. We're going either if we go with WASA or community, we would also go to the local government and the same premium. And boiler and crime. With this one, WASA actually covers its own crime, but for both community and WASA, they have Hartford steam boiler that does the coverages. Depending on which company requests a quote from Hartford, they do give different quotes. Actually, the quotes that are shown here included in both these lines are actually the community quote for boiler and machinery through Hartford. The portion there is $7,959 through Hartford that the community was able to obtain a quote from them. WASA's quote actually from Hartford was a lot greater, almost $5,000 greater, $13,270. I spoke with both the agents and WASA is able to spin that off and not have that coverage underneath them, and community is willing to keep that coverage with them even if we do not go with them. And so for both those columns, we stuck the premium that actually community obtained for the boilers and equipment and machinery. Crime-wise, crime is through WASA, and then with community it's through F&D. So the total actual premiums that would pay out will be with WASA $379,526 and with community $403,859 for a difference in this area of $24,330. Dividends are estimated. WASA has offered actually a fixed dividend of 25%. That's at $52,403. At this point, WASA has paid dividends every year for a number of years, even when they switched and were taken over by their parent company, they still paid dividends out at that year also. So they offer us the 25%, and they have paid their dividends in the past. Other dividends for community is $42,580. That is based on a 10% fixed and then a 10% based on claims. We've been with community for 4 years, and the first 3 years, based on our claims, we would have got around 21% dividends. But this last year, depending on whether the claim is subrogated or not, right now we're only estimating 10%. But 3 out of the 4 years, we would have got 20-some%, low 20s. So I put the 20% in here as the dividend estimate for community. So then it nets out and gives you the net premium for both the companies. The difference is $34,153. But as I said before, community did reduce the premium by a couple $1,000, $2,800. So that difference is $2,800 less at this point. We've been with community for the last 4 years. We've been very happy with their coverage, their loss control services, claim handling, and their steady premium. Their premiums have not increased any more than a couple percentages in terms of their base coverage or liability coverage. Workman's comp will always vary based on our mod as well as our payrolls. One thing I'd like to show you with community is what we believe they've done for us in terms of their loss prevention services. This is actually the premiums that we have paid on our workman's comp. It's based on experience, and as our experience gets better or worse, the mod actually changes, and that mod is actually what's used to calculate our premiums. And all the insurance carriers need to use the same mod for the village. And so over the last 4 years, when we initially started with community, our mod was over 1. 1's like the average for municipalities. With their loss prevention services, we were able to reduce our mod down to this next year, going into this next 2008-9, we're at a 0.81 mod. So we've saved, over the years, because the mod's dropping, a lot of money in terms of premium differences. If you were at a 1, like for this next year, instead of a 0.8, we would be paying $50,000 more in premium for our workman's comp. So we've been very pleased with community service and their claim handling. They actually doubles up with the village in terms of claim handling. Community has a claim or a loss prevention person that comes out to our site, and just recently our account was taken over by a sales rep from Fitzgerald Clayton, and they also have a loss prevention person that has teamed up with the community loss prevention to offer us their services. So they each look at the village and determine which ones they specialize in. Like one specializes more in looking for this type of loss or controlling this type of loss versus the other. So I've been very happy with the last 4 years with community, and I'm sorry to see that the price difference is there in terms of the $35,000. The village was with WASA for more than 10 years before community. So right now, based on the price, I'm actually recommending to switch WASA for liability coverage and commercial crime. I'm recommending to stay with the local government property insurance fund for property and automobile physical damage, to keep the property deductible at $25,000, and to keep the auto physical damage deductibles at $1,000 and $2,500. And also to stay with Hartford Steam Boiler through community for our boiler and machinery coverage. We have both the agents from WASA and from community here, and they would both like to speak briefly concerning their coverages, and so if you would like to have them come up and speak before, so either Carol or Jim.
I guess it's ladies first.
We just asked that you give us your name and address.
Absolutely. My name is Carol Willick, and I reside at 15105 Watertown Plank Road in Elm Grove, Wisconsin. And as Kathy mentioned, I have been your agent since September. Prior to that, my husband was your agent, but he switched jobs and no longer had access to community insurance. And I've been very pleased to work with Kathy over the last 7 months. And I know the price differential is significant, but if you bear with me, I'll try to keep this to about 5 minutes and just point out some of the value-added services that we provide that hopefully you will see add up to more than the price differential. I believe in color, so. Very similar to what Kathy pointed out just a little while ago, but something that bears thinking about. If your mod had stayed at 1.01, as it was when community insurance took it over the course of the last 4 years, you would have had significantly more going out to pay for premiums for workers' compensation. As you can see, each year it adds up to the savings that Kathy put together for you on her display. So again, because we have such very dedicated loss control people and claims people, we do our very best to get your claims down because it's very important.